Hi, Nick.
Hey, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm well and yourself. How you doing?
I'm good. I can't, you know what? It's cooler out in Chicago for once. Um,
Really?
well, I know it's usually known to be cold, but we've had such bad heat lately.
Really?
So, yeah, it's down to like 70 something. So it's finally, I'm happy this week.
Well, that's good. That's
How
good.
about you? How are you?
I'm doing well. No complaints at all. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about a little bit of everything,
Okay.
because your career just I've known since I was old enough and have been
Oh,
following it ever since. But
oh, thank
first,
you.
I just want to thank you, first of all, for granting me that interview with you and the ladies back in 2016, because
Yeah.
that was like something I dreamed of and I thought it would
Wow.
never happen. And
That's
then,
what's up.
yeah, and it was just crazy, like, and today as well. Um,
Oh, Nick, thank you.
yeah. But first just want to ask you,
Okay.
quarantine. How was quarantine for you? What were the pros and cons for you, would you say?
You know what? Quarantine was at first it was rough. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong because it was a little scary when everything first hit. You know, it's just like you saying to yourself, like, dear God, and I'm so sorry for all the families that lost so many loved ones, throughout the midst of all that has happened. So it's just like, the quarantine, I was pretty much by myself for a good bit, just like
Yeah.
really just by myself. And but I thank God for him being there, so it's just like in the process of like the quarantine and all of that, I was going through so many things that I was able to really just really have time for just myself and God, sometimes. And it may not sound like the most favorable or to someone else, but at the end of the day it's the truth. I really can say that a lot of things has happened to me in the midst of this quarantine, and had it not been a quarantine, I don't know where I would be at right now. So it's just like,
Hmm.
I know with all the bad things that has happened, there is also some good that can always be found if you look for it. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful, Nick. I really am so grateful that God seemed fit to give me a second chance in the midst of all of what I was going through.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's crazy. I was looking, doing my research of certain things, and it's crazy. It's the 25th anniversary
Wow.
of the debut album. Like, I remember buying that album when I
Wow.
was, how old was
Wow.
I? I was 8 years old.
Are you serious? Get out of
Yeah,
here.
I
Wow.
remember buying the single cassettes of "Can't You See
Wow.
No One Else." I remember you
Yes.
used to have the orange jackets on.
Yes.
"Kissing You" was like black and white. "Do You Think About Us?" You were in the corner of the single cassette. I
Right.
remember, but yeah, I don't know how to remember this stuff, but just stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
Nick.
yeah, but that album. I want to talk about one thing I really always stood out to me that a lot of artists never did, and you, I think, were one of the only groups that did it.
Right.
Literally, your first three singles, you had remix for each one.
Right.
Like, what
Okay.
was that like? Were you nervous when, like, I'm sure it was Puff's idea, but Puff to bring that to each of you because the remixes were so dope, as well as because you know how usually when you hear the original or a remix, one of them is better than the other. But for your first three singles, they were completely different songs.
Right. You know what, Nick? It wasn't, I honestly can say it wasn't anything that made us nervous. It was just more or less like, Puff made sure that we showed up. He made
Yeah,
sure we really showed up on those records. So it was just like, it was a real good look. And it was something like you said, he made sure that he remixed, remixed everything. But whatever he remixed, it was definitely, he raised the bar to a different level. Like you said, another song.
yeah, and someone I just spoke to literally 20 minutes before I got on.
Right.
I spoke to Foxy, and
Really? Yes.
yeah, and she was like, "Tell
Hey,
Pam I said hey," and
hey, lady. Hey, Fox. Hey, love you, babe.
yeah, but I want to ask you, like, I know you had two collabs with her. You had the No One Else remix with
Mm-hmm.
her, Kim, and
I
DeBrat.
can rock
Yes.
no
And
more.
then you had I Can't.
Yes,
Like,
come on.
two amazing. Like, how was it working with Fox? And what do you remember? Because you, like, You were on the video shoot with both with for both videos with her. What was it
Right.
like?
You know what, Foxy, back then, because she was younger than us, she's a little younger than us, and it was just like, but she still was. And actually, just so you know, Keisha actually used to babysit Foxy back in the day. So who would have ever thought, right? Who
That's
would have ever thought
crazy.
that the paths would cross again? And and she was like, as Keisha said, this beautiful chocolate baby, young baby, and it's just like, she grew up to be such a powerful woman in the industry, and it's just like, yo, Foxy just she wasn't like Fox wasn't the one to run around the stage and all of that, but when she came, with the
Hmm.
how she came with it, so it
Yeah,
was just like she put it down. She definitely put it down, and she made her stamp in this industry, and it's just like, yeah, fire.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like yes,
Mhm.
I love it. But with the first album, you did so much. What's one moment from the first album that really sticks out to you that you just like hold dear to your heart? Because there were so many amazing moments with just the first album alone.
Do, 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 do. Give me all heads from Pasadena to Medina, Pasadena. Yeah, that's never going to end. Never. That's going to always be the trump of the first album. Don't get me wrong, Raphael Sadiq Kissing You was like out of this world. Because Raphael Sadiq within himself, he's just another in a whole category by himself. But what I really truly honestly love is that do 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 do. Yes, that it will never get old. And then just to be on the video set, the first video that we ever did in life, and it's just like to have come out so strong. You would have thought we was on the scene forever, but it was just more or less that Puff was just like, yo, yeah, I gotta bring it. He made sure
Yeah,
it's like, I want you to go home. Never heard of her at the time. He's like, I want y'all to go home and watch Annie Lennox. And I want y'all to look at her facial expressions and watch the way she just worked the camera. So we did our homework. We did all those things. And next thing you know, we got out there. It was the coldest day of the year, freezing outside. It was. And it was just like, and we did this video, and it was a home run hit. It really was. Thank God. And it took our
yeah.
careers just after that.
Yeah, and like how was it too? Like because you were at the mecca of when music was just amazing. The people you
Right.
were around, the events, the parties, the performances. Like I watch back on YouTube and just watch these videos of you all perform and just events and the video. Like it was such a era that will, I feel, unfortunately never be duplicated. Maybe not while I'm alive. Maybe in
Oh,
100 years, I feel. But what was it like? How was it like? Was it ever just so surreal that you were like, "Yo, this is my life"? Like,
yo, Nick, I promise you it was surreal. Like I'm in the studio and you be working in the studio and you look up and you like, this is Puff Daddy. Because at the
like
time, this is Puff Daddy. This is the Puff Daddy that was chasing Big Les around in Mary's Real Love video. And
yeah,
it's like, you got to get yourself together, shake yourself and be like, all right. And just being around, Biggie and Craig Mack and being around Faith and 112 and Mace and it's just like that's family. It's like regular and
yeah,
being around Mary, being around Missy, being around Brat, and like you said, Foxy and LL Cool J, and having the opportunity to do something so great and so big with LL, a great, huge record, and it's just like you have your moments when you just be like, yo, like really like I'm really around those that I look up to. So it was just amazing. It really was an amazing just opportunity, and I'm just so grateful for it, because had it not been for Total, it wouldn't be a Pam from Total.
mm-hmm,
Like I'm just so grateful to God, and it's just like that's the reason why I'm able to launch now as solo, it's
yeah,
because of where I've been. So it's just like, and it's never going to be a separation. It's just like, a lot of times, I actually got asked a question today, about being, Pamela Long, formerly from Total. And it was
mm-hmm,
like, and I told them, they was just like, what's that about? Kind of pretty much not in a bad way, but they
yeah,
asked the question, and it's more or less, I can only equate it to when Michael when Michael was going solo, he had to drop the Jackson, the name, just the
Mm-hmm.
name, not his brothers, you know. So it's just like he had to let go of the name so he can be Michael Jackson. You know, Beyonce had to let go of Destiny's Child. She didn't let her sisters go, but she had to, so that she can become Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
Be now, you know what I mean? So it's just like that's the thing with myself, is that you still have that foundation. It's just that you have, so that you can launch into the next place where you need to go. It has to be Pamela Long. So if people keep calling me Pam from Total, it's like I'm going to still be stuck in that box, in which in fact I'm not mad at it at all, because I know that it's a part of me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's not me. You know, so it's just like, because my name is Pamela Long. So for her to launch, that's what needs to happen.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, like I'm so excited for everything you're doing.
Oh,
But
thank you so
yeah,
much.
like we're gonna get all into it. Like I got
Okay.
so many good things. Like I'm so excited for everything that's going on. But you know
Thank,
the I want to ask, like, one of my favorite things you ever did. It's probably one of my favorite songs of all time. Is the soundtrack from Soul Food. You did "What About Us."
what about us?
That is,
What about me? What about us? What we gonna do? What we gonna do? What we gonna do?
oh my God,
Yes,
like
come on, y'all.
one of the best songs, the
Dope.
movie and that soundtrack, and that song as the lead single from the soundtrack. Like, what was that like? Because I know that was in between albums, and I
Right.
remember I was salty that the second album had the remix. I love the remix, don't get me wrong, with
Right,
Black
right,
Rob,
right,
but I was like, I wanted the original on here because,
right,
you know,
right.
I just. But how was that whole process being of such a, because soundtracks are kind of, they're not as known, I feel, as they were, you know, back in the 90s and early 2000s, I feel. What was it
Right.
like being such a part of such a huge movie phenomenon that turned into like a series, and then the song that just lives on?
You know what? It was great, especially because look at who we did it with, Missy, and then Tim coming through with the he beatboxing on the record, you know. So it's just like, yo, like who wouldn't want to work with Missy and Tim? So it was just definitely something that was just so awesome. And like you said, the movie was amazing. And then when you think about it, you know, just being able to be with on the face, you know, just
Yeah.
thinking Babyface in LA, you know, so it's just like it was major. It was definitely a major opportunity for us.
Yeah, it was amazing. And you know, I have such a funny story I wanted to tell you. I always wanted to tell you this because I remember buying the second album,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm, I think, 10 or 11. Yeah, 10 or 11 years old.
Wow.
And I have it playing, and one of the interludes is playing, and
Oh,
my mom walks in.
right. I know your
And
mother was great.
it's the interlude with the letter M.
Right,
And my mom goes, "What the hell are you listening to?" And I'm like, and I had no idea because I'm like, I'm a kid. I'm
right.
just like, this
It,
is Toto. I'm like, yo, this is,
oh, mother.
and it's so funny. I just had to
No,
tell you because
your mother was like, no, turn it.
yeah,
Yes.
she was like, "What is?" I'm like, "It's an interlude." I'm like, "This is what
Right,
albums do. You know, they have the interludes that lead up to the song."
right, right.
And
Mother
my
was
mom was like,
mortified. Like, no way.
"Yeah." She was
Get
like, "What
that
is going
out.
on?"
Yes,
Yeah, but it's so
yes.
funny. But
Mhm.
how important to you was it to
Yes.
have interludes? Because interludes were, I still love interludes. Like, and I think
Hmm.
you had what, maybe 4 or 5 on the second album.
Okay. And you know what? Sometimes the interludes they do help, like to go, you know, and it's just like sometimes you definitely want to go that way, but you got to make sure that it's the right one. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes it's just like sometimes they're important, and then sometimes it's just like maybe not. Maybe I need to just let the song just go to the next song. But sometimes it's really good. Like even sometimes in the show, like when you're doing a show, you have a moment in the show to kind of slow things down, or either, you know, pretty much to pick things up, one of the two. Something, you know, you're gonna have the DJ cut in and do some things. So whichever, if it works, it's good. If it doesn't work, it's just like, you know, like Puff would say, nah.
well, no, let also want to talk about, okay, so the Bad Boy reunion tour,
Hmm.
still in history, one of my favorite shows of all time. I
Wow.
went there by myself. I bought my ticket. because I needed to be within the first 10 rows or I wasn't going.
Wow.
I bought, I had my tour book, I
Wow.
had my bad boy.
Oh, Nick.
I had, like it was a memory that I'll never forget, and the videos I took are just priceless. But
So,
yeah, I wanted you all to be the whole show, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I just wanted total because you all were my favorite on
oh,
the stage. And
oh,
but what was that feeling every night coming up when that for tripping and the black and white lights and
right.
just it was such a moment that
Yeah.
was timeless.
Yeah, Nick, you know what? It was so amazing. Like, you know what, as an artist, you always you want the you see the shows sometimes that you see the lights and the cameras and the action, like you see all of the hoopla, meaning
Hmm.
have the screens everywhere and the dancers and all of this stuff. And it was something that, I as an artist always pretty much wanted. Sometimes you see, I saw Destiny's Child. I seen, SWV had that moment, just thinking about, just because of the fact that what comes to my mind, the Cheetah Girls. You think about all of the artists, Danny D. Kane, the artists that had the bells and the whistles, I'll say it that way.
Hmm.
We had our performances, don't get me wrong, and some of them we did have certain things, but I always wanted that Michael Jackson stage, and
Yes.
to have that moment and to come up out of that floor. Oh my goodness. Nick, I could dance off of that all over again. I really
Yes.
it was the moment for, just as an artist, it's just for someone to believe in you like that. To me, it makes you just be like, dog, man. So you gotta go above and beyond. It's just like, because it's a whole nother feeling. It really is. It's just amazing. It is.
Yeah, that and I'm so happy you all kept so much, like you brought new choreography, but you
Mm-hmm.
all like I remember in Kissing You and the performances back in the day, it was always and then down, and
Right.
I'm so happy you all
Yep.
brought it
Yes. Yes.
to that show. I was like,
Dope.
yes, the old choreo, like that's what I
Come
love.
on.
Like,
That's Lorianne. Come on. That Lorianne Gibson. You already know. Come on, Lorianne.
yes. That was yeah, that was like I was so excited when you like that I seen that and just yeah, it was just amazing. But what did you learn from that tour necessarily? And I also love you did um the Women of Bad Boy panels. How was that for you? Just going to I know it wasn't every city, but I think it was all like the major markets.
Hmm.
Speaking to a crowd and just just getting to know people and tell your story.
You know what? It was just being, what I learned from being on the tour is that if the shoe fits, it's gonna always fit. And it was just like, it wasn't hard to step back into getting on the stage with everyone because the shoe fit. And
Hmm.
it was just awesome. It really was. It was awesome. And it was just something that I know in my heart that it was supposed to be done. Like, God brought us all back together again. And it was amazing. It was amazing. If we never have another moment like that again, we had it. And
Yeah.
and then also just being on the woman empowerment movement of going, just speaking to women, and just looking to talk to them about some of the things that we've been through, and just the different women that were on the panel. And it was just amazing. It was just really dope. It really was. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love it. It was such a I wish I would have went to like I wish I would have saved up more money and went to like 10 more shows because I just didn't want it to end the whole just one of the best ever. It will go down in history and yeah, it's awesome. But I want to talk about too, you all reunited in 2014 at the Soul Train Awards for the Ladies Night performance. What was that like? Because that was so, it's so funny. Some people younger than me like recognize the song, but they didn't recognize like necessarily who was on stage. And I was explaining to some younger friends of mine. I'm like, "Yo, that's so and so. That's so." They're like, "Oh, I didn't know they
That's
all were a part of this." And I was like,
hmm
"Yeah, they're this is the originators right here. Like,
right.
watch the original music video." But what was that like coming together again? Such a powerful performance.
You know what? It was awesome. It was just, what, me personally, just being on the stage for me is always amazing. If I'm in front of two people, or if I'm in front of millions. It to me, whichever, everybody deserves the best, So it's just like when you stepping back on that stage and putting my feet on any stage, is to me, it's just like I'm ready. I'm go
Yeah.
for it. Go for it. So it was ready, set, go. Ready, set, go.
Yeah, that was a moment. But I want to talk about the solo music because I remember hearing one of your first features was with Trina's debut album,
Okay.
Take Me.
Mm-hmm.
You were on the chorus, and I was like, yes, Pamela Long. Like, I was so excited for you just to see your journey from
Oh.
there going solo
Mm-hmm.
and just doing it on your own and not having, you know, you have people, you're in a group, so you have people to depend on. And then you're solo and you have yourself. How was that for you?
What, just the change from because it went out a little bit, so it was the
Oh, I'm
change.
sorry.
Okay, it's the change from, you were asking about the change from being in a group to solo.
Correct.
You know what? It's the transition sometimes because you're so used to others being on the stage with you. Your girls being there, especially, and it's just like it's different. But at the same time, too, when you love it, it's in you, so it's gonna come out. You're gonna give everything your all. You're gonna give it your all. Yeah.
Dope, dope. And I love the songs you've dropped. You said why ghetto love.
Right.
Oh my God.
Uh, in the ghetto. Come on.
Amazing. Like the videos, the visuals, the songs. What was it like just to get some music out there for fans of Total and your fans now? What was it like just to get it out there to the audiences?
You know what? It was amazing. It felt great because it's just like the accomplishment. So it's just like, becoming a solo artist and you stepping out there because people, know you from a group. Sometimes it's a little rough, especially when, you don't have all of what you used to have behind you.
Hmm.
But it's just like you got to take the journey. At first it was just like, sometimes you can feel like as an artist, like, dog, man, can I do it? And that was one of the things that I fought with, just really believing in myself as an artist. But I'm so grateful and I'm thankful to God. It's just like I can do it. And it's just like, you just got to keep pressing forward, keep pressing and keep pressing and keep pressing. And next thing you know, boom, you coming
Yeah.
all. Yes, and shout out to my brother. Shout out to everybody that's on here, but shout out to my brother. I gotta shout him out. Lyrics, yo. If y'all don't know, Lyrics 0122. He's on fire right now. My brother is a rapper, and he has a lot to say, and I'm so excited for him. And it's a lot of people that he's making his way in the industry right now. So I just saw my brother up here. I had to shout him out. And it's just like, yeah, it's a lot of people that is looking at him like the record companies has come to at him and everything. So it's just like I'm just excited for my brother. So when I saw his name up here, I had to shout him out. And that's my mama's baby. That's my brother. Yes, I love it so much. Lyrics, love you, babe.
I love it. I love it. And how therapeutic was it for you when you dropped your book, Total Exposure: Pieces of Me, last year? What did it feel like? Because I know, back in the '90s, 2000s, any kind of artist, we knew you, but we really didn't know you because we didn't have social media. All we had really was maybe a quick interview on the Soul Train or like like a quick minute interview if you performed. It was never like a thorough interview or anything like that. So how was that for you?
You know what? Writing a book for me was therapeutic, and actually it was rough. In all honesty, the Lord told me to write the book, and it was something that I can honestly say that if it was up to me, I would have went to the grave with it.
Hmm.
Because it was a lot in the book that I had to let out, and I would have never said anything. Honestly, I just would have, because back then as a young girl, and then just being one to feel like that I had to kind of just keep my mouth shut to protect people, because I call myself protecting those that I love. So it's just like with that, it was just like to let all this stuff out. It was kind of just like, yo, like how are people gonna look at me now? Like
Hmm.
how see me and view me. but I'm so grateful because so many people hit me up and was like, the book really helped me, and this was my story, and so many things. So sometimes you have no idea why God will put you on such an assignment. And it's just like, that's the thing with me, that the message is, to me, is that God will take your misery and make it into a message if you allow him to. And so I'm so grateful to that, even though I went through all of these horrible things, which was never his plan, but it's
Hmm.
just because God has no evil in him. He's not wicked. There's nothing in God that is evil, but sometimes there's spirits in people. They have the spirit of the devil that's on the inside of them. And what it is that that's what comes out from people. You know what I mean? So it's not, but God will take the hurt, the pain, and he can make it a message to be able to help others. And so it's just like, I'm grateful and I'm thankful for that, that somebody else can look and be like, dog, she said it, then dog, I can say it. I don't
Yeah.
hide this no more. So it's just like, I'm grateful for that, because it was somebody before me that told their story. And it's
Yep.
just, sometimes you never know who you're going to impact. And that's what life is about, impacting somebody else's life to help them to be better. If you can do that, man, listen, you winning all day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And another thing, this, the book came out 2020, and I think it was a great time because, you know, everything went down in 2020 with quarantine. So it was a great way to introduce yourself again to the world. And
Mm-hmm.
it was all, we're going to talk about the encore, but as well, what did you think of? Because I know it wasn't crazy known, but anyone that watched it was known, and I was excited to explain to some people that didn't know Toto.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Wendy Williams biopic,
Oh,
she
okay.
brought, yeah, like
Well,
how,
yeah.
yeah, like how was it just to, I know it's not like a necessarily nice thing, but how
Mm-hmm.
was it just to kind of have you back, in a movie? Like it was just, how'd
You
you
know what?
feel?
You know what, Nick? I actually heard about it, and it more or less, it was me before Wendy even came out with the book. Not excuse me, with the biopic. It was more or less like, I remember one day I was sitting at my apostle's house at the time, and I
Hmm.
remember something came up about the Wendy, and it was just like, it was mentioned about what happened, what went down with ourselves and Wendy, with Total and Wendy. And I remember I was like, oh, pretty much I'm over that. And I remember my
Yeah.
apostle was like, something, and she said something about apologizing. And I looked kind of just was like, oh no, to myself. I was like, oh no, I'm good. Like, I don't need to apologize to her. Like, that was something that went down, and it is what it is. And it was,
Hmm.
I remember sitting there, and she said something to me, just in short. I'm not speaking of the whole conversation, but in short, she was just like, that's pride. Like, for you not to be able to apologize. She's like, if you really mean it from your heart, then you should be able to apologize for what it is that you've done now, now that you see it differently. And I pretty much sat down and I was like, I'm not apologizing, and I sat down on the floor. And when it was just like, and I thought about it, it was just like God showed me that I was being prideful. It was just like I had too much pride to be like, yo, I'm not apologizing. And I actually inboxed Wendy and told her, I don't know if she ever received it or not, but I apologized. And it's just like, you know what? I meant it, because back then I was a hard head kid, pretty much just thinking whatever, and didn't even think about the repercussions of things that could have happened to me. Suppose if we would have put hands on her and it would have
Hmm.
been ugly, who's to say that if somebody that was with her could have came around the corner, start shooting and shot us up, so it's just like, sometimes you don't know what could have happened. So it's just like, I'm so grateful and thankful that I'm in a better place now, to where it's
Hmm.
like, I'm just like, yo, I'm not that hard-headed kid anymore. And she does deserve an apology. So even up here now, like, Wendy, if you never saw that message, if you never got an opportunity to read it, because I DM'd her, I am so sorry for what I did to you back then. I was, I make no excuses for it. And it's just like, you didn't deserve that then, regardless of as to what she's done or didn't do, she didn't deserve it, so
Hmm.
I apologize for that.
Definitely, definitely. And I want to talk about BET presents the Encore.
The encore.
The Encore, probably one of the most exciting shows
Nice.
in over 10 years. I'm not going to lie. When I heard the lineup and just everything it was about. So how did you get approached and what were your first thoughts when, because that's a lot of different, like, you, I know in the show you all didn't know who was going to be there, how many ladies was going to be there.
No.
You didn't know anything, and it was quarantine really still.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know what, the show, to be honest, Nick, like I said, sometimes the answers that I give, but I know people is just like, come on, really? Yes, but really, the show was actually prophesied to me. It was prophesied to me by my apostle that I was going to be doing TV. Not too far before I received an email from Scott Shatsky asking me from Kingdom Reign Entertainment. He and Carlos King, shout out to Carlos King, the both of them,
Yes.
great. They are definitely great men. And they actually, I got an inbox, not an inbox, I'm sorry, I got an email, and I was just like, oh shoot, they want me to do television. So I was just like, pretty much, it was already something that the Lord had already said was going to happen. So I was like, all right, cool. And then in the midst of all of that, I changed my mind. And I changed my mind because of all the things that went down with me in social media. I was just like, I'm not doing this. I was like, I
Hmm.
am not doing this show. And I had backed out. And I let them know, I was like, look, I'm not doing the show. But honestly, God told me to do the show. And because of that, that's the reason why I did the show, Nick. Because he said for me to do the show. And upon me doing the show, I'm so grateful because it was like, it's sometimes like you never know how certain things are going to go. You don't know where you're going to get your healing from.
Hmm.
You don't know where you're going to learn some things, even more things about yourself, things that you thought that you were over, that you got to go back home and look in the mirror and say to yourself, like, whew, okay, let me look at the man
Yep.
in the and really work on myself some more because it's still work to do. It's never going to be a moment until I go to the grave that um there's no more work to be done, so I haven't arrived. Sometimes I, me, can think that I arrived, and it's just like God will show you your truths if you're ready to hear them. If you really want to see them, he'll show it to you. And even if you don't want to see him, he's going to show you. You can deny it, but he'll
Yep.
show you anyway, you know?
Yes, and I think it was neat. You were needed, let alone not just your talent, just your being as a person. For because
Wow.
anyone that's watched the show, there's a lot of stuff going on, but you
Hmm.
have brought so much positivity and just a
Wow.
great aura for certain. Like it was so. I think it was the first or second episode where something went down and you prayed with the twins, I think,
Wow.
outside. And I was like, oh my God, it just like brought, because, negativity, yes, it's for TV. I get it. They want that. But
Hmm.
at the same point, you just can't have complete negativity the whole show.
Hmm.
It just gets you kind of, like there got to be some positive. And I was so happy you were there to bring that,
Wow.
because it's, you
God be the
know,
glory.
yeah, it was neat. Like, you were meant to be there, like you said, like God sent you there because let alone from the music, just to be that person to bring people together because it's a lot of different personalities in the house, and I understand it.
Right.
And
Right.
the big, thing about girl groups is no one could ever get along. So I
Hmm.
get the whole, concept. Um, but also for the show, who were you because I know you probably met some of the ladies and,
Hmm.
throughout your career, but
Hmm.
who were you the most shocked at that you got along with you, that you would say that you were like, oh, we're going to be friends for a long time?
You know what? I'm not gonna say for one. I just want to address just a couple of things. You know what? Getting into the house is and being around a bunch of women and people that you don't know. It's just like you come in there, and I'm pretty sure all of us guarded. Because it's just like
Yeah.
you don't know me. Some of us sharing rooms with people that we don't even know. It's just like it's just like all right. I don't know about all this. So it's just like, so you got your guard up. But at the same time too, it's just like, to be able to give somebody that leeway, because it's just like, what, I get it. It was rough. Something we had rough moments, and I had my moments where I was just like, oh goodness, what am I doing here? Like, okay, but it's just like to stick it out. It's just like, all right, I'm here. and let me make the best of it. However I'm supposed to be used, let me be utilized that way, opposed to me, because it's easy to, when one person gets an attitude, to jump right in, Nick. And
Yep.
to be honest, I was that one that used to feel like I had to make a point of things. Okay, I can't be punk, and especially I'm on TV. Like, you
Yep.
know what I mean? Like, I'm on TV, but you got to fall back,
Mm-hmm.
just real enough with yourself, to be real with yourself and be like, yo, look, I've never, to be honest with you, Nick, it may appear to people, I've never been a fighter. I've always been the one to run home to get my sister. Look, and it's just like, don't get me wrong. Do I have hands to fight? Yes, I do, but it's never been in my heart. It's just like, I'll tell anybody, I've always been a punk at heart. Never
Yeah.
wanted to be the one to fight. That's not me. Let me sing and dance and all of those things. So it's just like, I get the fact that everybody is different, and it's just like, I just want to say to everybody, just keep watching the show, because you're going to see so many different turns. And even last night's um episode really blessed me, because I said people got an opportunity to see a different side of Felicia. When she
Mm-hmm.
started crying, I was just like, yes, because that's why I'm saying, if I wasn't even a part of the show, I would watch the show, if I was able to have the insight that I do have. And I'm telling you, as you watch the show, you're gonna see not just the you're gonna see behind some of the toughness that some of us
Yeah.
have. You'll see behind it, because you'll start to realize the story. Like, dog, I didn't know that this person been through that. I didn't know. Oh, and it's just like, you start to understand certain things. Even within myself, it's just like, dog, like, why is Pamela, like, why do it seem like she got peace? Because I used to be so chaotic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's only because of the Lord and him changing my life, changing my heart. But I still got a ways to go. I'm not perfect. No, some of the things that went on in the house, like, I had to look at myself and be like, ooh, I might not have said anything, but my mind said stuff that I had to
Yeah.
go to God and be like, oh God, I'm so sorry from the way that I was thinking. So it's just like we gotta just look at things in that light. And being on this show is really just, to me, it's just like, it's an amazing opportunity to be able to be a light
Yep.
in this place, where in the industry where everything is just like, women, especially for us, we get such a bad rap. It's like, we always got to be fighting, we always got to be catty, we always got to be cussing and fussing, we always got to be drinking, we always got to be sleeping around. No, that's not what we do. That's not what we have. That's not all that we do. It's for some, it's just like, and it's just like, look, had the cameras been on my life back in the day, who's to say somebody would have saw? So it's just like, yo, and I don't stand in judgment of anyone. It's just like, and I'm learning how not to do that, Nick. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and it's so easy, but
Yep.
but it's like God looking at you like, oh, really? Really? Did you
Mm-hmm.
forget what you did? Do you forget all the things that you did? So it's just like that place of grace, and just being able to give somebody that grace to say, you know what? If God can change me, let me look at somebody else's life and to say, you know what? Why wouldn't he do it for them as well? Why?
Yes.
So it's just like, Nick, I'm learning so much. I'm still learning, Nick. And I'm not half of what I thought I was. Probably not even a spot of what I thought I was. And it's just like, I'm still learning, and learning how to humble myself and really just be like, God, I want to be everything that you say that I'm supposed to be. So that means I have to give up all of my way. And Nick, sometimes giving up all of your way when that's all that you've known is so hard to do, but it's
Yes, it is.
possible. And it's every day, one day at a time, one day at a time. And I'm learning how to be real, Nick. And even so, we talked about, even the book Total Exposure, right? There were things that I still was holding on to, Nick. It was still things that I still wasn't, finished telling, all because it's pieces of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now the second book, and I never would have thought that I could write a second book, and I'm actually just finishing up the second book, and it's me being like everything, like everything. It's just like, I really am. I'm grateful, Nick. No more fake, no more phony. It's just this, be Pamela Long, the one that God has created me to be, because it's so easy. It was always easy for me to hide in my life, Nick. No more hiding. I'm
Yeah.
done putting on the facades. Listen, I'm tired of all of the fake and the phony, because for one, God is tired of it. And then two, I'm finally in a place with my life and I say, God, you know what? I agree. I'm tired and I just want to be everything that you want me to be. So that means I got to give up everything. And I'm learning how to give up everything, Nick. And like I said, it's not easy, but
Yeah.
it's one day at a time. To say, God, here I am today. God, please, if I go out here and do me, then I'm going to wreck everything. God, I need you today. Please lead and guide my life.
Mm-hmm. That's some real talk. Such
For
so real. Like, and that's what I think the show I feel really is for a lot of the ladies. And like you said yourself, a learning experience, not just from the music and getting that part done, but just kind of learning more about yourself and each person. Because you said everyone had a judgment right away based upon what happened or the way it was edited, because you know how the editing goes, and it may not have even been that bad, but they
right.
made it look 10 times worse.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's
That
what I was like. Some people just don't understand the editing thing, and they think right away it's the villain, and I'm like, no, it's not.
no.
Yeah, it's so interesting how people don't know television, especially
Hmm.
reality television, because it's a
Right,
beast.
right,
And you
right.
are all watching it with us when it's released. It's not like you all get, unless you're an executive producer, you don't get to see
Exactly. No.
a
Yeah.
cut beforehand. You are seeing with us. That's why I noticed you were all on lives and talking to us, because you are watching it with us, which is refreshing in a way too, because it's cool to experience that with you all. But I would be nervous.
Right, 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 right. It's just like, all right, what's about to go down? You like, okay. Well, did it? You like, okay, that didn't happen in that sequence, but okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
Right. Yes.
because I'm sure the
Okay.
days are all switched up, like you were saying. It's not from the morning to night. It's literally days mixed in, and different parts put in, and just
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
yeah. But I'm so excited for the showcase. I know that is coming up.
Wow.
So how exciting though was it? Like you wrote the one song.
Mm-hmm.
What's the title? Something Sparrow.
The God Only Knows song.
God only knows song.
Yeah,
Yes.
the God Only Knows. That was actually, now mind you, that wasn't just me. That was myself, Felicia, actually Misha, Keely, and Aubrey also had a hand on this song. So it's just like it's an amazing, amazing in Elijah as well too. So the song is amazing. It's something that that God placed in my heart, and then got with these beautiful lady and this young man, and it was just like the song became just bigger than what it is that I could ever imagine. And it's just like the song really just deals with my life. Like I had a conversation with Felicia, and it's so dope how it's just like she just began to write about just the heartache that I've been through. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like, been at the top of mountains, been in the valley low, my guilt, my pain, bad habits on my own. It's just like because of the things that I've done, like I said, sometimes you can mask stuff for so long in your life. And then it's just like God, like, all right, enough is enough. Since you don't wanna, since you don't want to do right, I'm going to expose you. And God pulled
Yep.
the cover. And it's just like, and when he pulled the covers back, the real me was standing there. And the friends that thought that they knew me was just like, yo, who are you? Lost them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Lost a lot as far as the lies that I told, Nick. And it's just like so many, and standing there stripped down like that. It's just like, yo, and that it's your fault was one of the most painful things that I had to walk through. And I really just thank God for not letting me go, because Nick, I could have died in this thing.
Yeah.
I didn't. I promise you, I'm so grateful and thankful for him covering me and giving me a second chance and not taking my life out of here, because you cannot play with God. That's one thing. If you're going to be in the church, be in the church. But if you're going to try to play both sides of the fence, man, God, like,
Yeah.
you know who you play. I'm God. Do you know that I can take you out of here? Just one thought, and it's over. And so it's just like to really just know that. he loved me and spared me that much. It's just like, yo, if I don't get it right now, Nick, then it's just like you deserve everything that you get because you
Yeah.
know better. And so it's just like I'm just in a place where I'm just like, all right, God, fresh start. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm not just appreciate it, I'm thankful. And just looking just to learn how to go forward and to be honest.
Yes, I love it. And how does it feel? Also, I want to ask you, being on this show, and like you said, you have your fans, your hardcore fans. Like I've been, like I said, been with you, but new fans and the new generation getting to know who you are and the other ladies. How has that just reaction been of getting messages on, social media? How's that been for you? Just getting connect with a new fan base almost.
You know what? What's so dope about the situation is this is that Nick, I don't even really read comments. I don't read comments because so listen, it's like I'll be like, all right, it's just like, and I thank God for that. I thank him for letting me know. Don't even read the comments because sometimes you're gonna read something that probably gonna make you flare up and be like,
Uh-huh.
you said to DM you, so now you battling with yourself. Like you're battling yourself because it's just you are a real human being. At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, woo, that right there. Really? So it's just like I don't read them, but when somebody does DM me, I do read them and I do get back to them and I just say, thank you, to God be all the glory. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. And it's just like Nick, at the same time too, I gotta remind myself not to believe the hype. That's what got me in trouble last time. Believe
Mm-hmm.
that you more than what you are. Listen, just stay humble, stay low, and just be thankful, be grateful, and don't allow this to get to my head.
Yes, that's understandable. But yeah, I just can't wait for the rest of the show. But I
Yep.
want to talk
Yeah.
more about the solo music. I know you're going to release your solo project. How much would you say is completed? What are your like? Is it going to be a full-on LP? Is it going to be an EP? A couple
Mhm.
singles first? What do you envision for us?
You know what, Nick? I actually do have an album actually finished. It's done and it's very eclectic. I can say it's like the artist that I think of when I think about this album because Total was in a vein as to where when you have a vision, you don't want to break it. Puff had a
Mm-hmm.
vision. So it was just like he gonna stay within that vision, But this is Pamela Long, and it's just like Chance the Rapper, Kendrick Lamar type feel. When I say that, what I mean by that is like it's very eclectic. I got the pop record, I got the rock record, I'm of course I have the R&B music, and it's just like the album is just so colorful, and I'm thankful because you can still like people like okay can you still do secular music? Yes, but it's just a boundary that you have. Like listen,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't up here booty shaking and doing none of this, and I'm not because it's just like, all right, who are you? Who? Okay, so you just told us that you wasn't lying no more. This, that, and the third. Like, who are you? So it's just like, but you can have clean music and it still be fire. That's my
Yep.
thing and that's what I'm excited about is that the music is still fire. So I'm looking forward to just putting this music out and just moving forward, and then also who's to say I don't know what God is about to do with Blueprint as well either. So it's just like
Yes.
and the music that's dropping from Blueprint, yo, I promise y'all, when I say I had to sit up for that one. The music, listen. So and I'm grateful because and it's just like everybody had the opportunity to shine in who they are. And it's but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time too, for it to come together is just like yo. And I promise you, shout out to Felicia and Fallon, who was definitely prominent, some of the most prominent when it comes to the writing aspect for Blueprint. They are fire. Those and it's the other ladies had some, sharing it as well. And I'm just big everybody. I big up everybody, because I don't want to leave anybody out because everybody is phenomenal in what they do. I also have to big up Felicia and Fallon. I got to big up Elijah. I got to because he wrote on the album. I got to big up um cosign as well too. I'm telling you, the music is ridiculous. Shout out to Aaliyah for being the dopest choreographer. Shout out to Cinnamon for being an amazing vocal coach. It's just like everybody had amazing part in this. You know, shout out to
Mm-hmm.
Brain and BET for believing in the show. And it's just like, it's amazing. I'm excited. If not for nothing else, it's just like when you have the opportunity to be a part of something great, it's just like, dog, like, you know, I said it earlier today, like, God, you picked me out of everybody. Like, how is it that you decided to pick me? And it's just like, you know, Nick, and it's just like, I'm so grateful to be chosen by God. And it's not
Yeah.
somebody that chose me, it was him that put it in somebody's heart to pick me. So it's just like, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm excited. I thank you for having me on the show today. I loved every minute of it, and I look forward to just continuously going forward in my career. And I say to everybody, if you're looking for Pamela Long, look, you can find me on Pamela Long, the number 4 ever. Um, and if you want the book, Total Exposure, and you want to get a signed copy of it, it's PamelaLongForever.com. The number 4, PamelaLongForever.com is Total Exposure, Pieces of Me. If you want to look for me on Facebook, I'm Pamela Long. Yes, I am. And if you want to train, I am a personal trainer. So if you want to train, listen, I do it via social media. I do the Zooms. And if you want to meet with me in person, and if God tells me so, and he let me know that you ain't trying to come at me no sort of kind of way, because listen, I don't throw no hands, but I do box. No, I don't. But I do know how to box. So it's just like, but yes, you can inbox me, but I do personal training in person. We will have our mask on. I'll be social distancing from you, and I actually am doing some workout this weekend, Lord willing, with a couple of new client that I have. So I'm excited about that. And I'm just looking for what's next, Nick, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful and I'm thankful. So please know I'm thankful about everything. Thank you so much for
Yeah. I thank you so much,
yes.
Pam. Like I said, thank you. I can't wait for Blueprint, your solo project. I'm so excited. Blueprint, I hope it's
Yes.
released to all social media and all streaming platforms where you can purchase and download. And
Yes.
I know you spoke on, last thing, I know Missy spoke on this. I spoke to
Yes.
Mila, but
Okay.
in I don't know when or if it does
Yes.
happen, like I know you spoke on it, but if a
Yes.
versus does happen,
Right.
that for 702 in total, I just put it out in the universe. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it would just be a moment for everyone. I just hope it
Wow.
comes to fruition sometime, somehow.
Right. You know what, Nick? And my thing is this: if God say yes, then I'm by all means. I know that there is. I don't know when, like you said. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know when or where, because I know that He has my focus on doing the solo and all
Yep.
of those things. But there's nothing. I have nothing against doing anything that He would allow me to do, because I love Kim and Keisha. I always and forever will. Because had it not been for those ladies believing in me, then it's just like, where would I be? You know, so it's just like, and I'm grateful that they chose me. You know,
Yeah.
like they heard my vocals and chose me, you know, so it was destined to be. So it's just like, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and thank you so much, Nick, for having me on here. I really do appreciate it. It's good seeing you again. You look amazing.
Yes.
Hair, come on,
Thank you. Thank
you looking all sharp over
you.
there. Yes, but thank you so much.
I appreciate it so much, Pam.
Yes,
I just thank you for your time. I can't wait to see you again in the future. Now that the world's
yes,
opening up, hopefully we're
yes,
more, getting back to
right.
normal, slowly
Yep.
but surely.
Yes, be safe and be careful, everybody. Continue to listen. Now, like I say to everybody, please continue to wear your mask. I know that the government is saying this, that, and the third, but make sure. It's so easy to listen to man. Listen to God. Ask God, God, look, can I take my mask off and be for real? Because I'm telling you, sometimes we don't know what we going to run into. And it's just like, I'd rather listen to God and for people to look at me funny than for me to listen to man and find myself somewhere hurt, sick,
Yep.
you know? So absolutely, Nick, I thank you so much. Thank y'all so much, everybody. I thank y'all for your comments. I appreciate it. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And then please make sure that you tune in every Wednesday night to the Encore at 10 p.m. 9 Central. And then also make sure, if you need something to pick you up and encourage you, listen, go get that book, Total Exposure, Pamela Long, Pieces of Me. Again, PamelaLongForever.com. If you want to sign for me to sign it. And yes, I'm the one that's signing it, and it's going to be sent out to you right away. And then also Amazon.com if you want to get the book. And then that book number 2 is coming. And if you need a good trainer, listen, I'm telling you, and you want to get your, I still got muscles. I still got muscles, y'all. I still got muscles. I had to show you my muscles so you like, okay, she still got muscles. Yes, I still got muscles. So yes, and listen, and I can, food plans if you want to get a food plan. But and listen, you don't have to stop eating everything. It's just learning how to do portions, y'all. I had to learn how to do portions. I promise y'all, I was not just a foodie, but I was addicted to food. I had to repent, get before God, and ask Him to help me because I felt like I can just do whatever it is that I wanted to because I worked out, and that's not good because you
Mm-hmm.
can really be hurting yourself regardless when it comes to eating whatever size you are. So it doesn't mean that you got to be a 5 to be fine. Listen, you just want to be healthy. That's it. I just want to be healthy. And so
Mm-hmm.
let's do this thing. I love y'all. Appreciate it. Nick, thank you. Love you so much.
Yes.
And thank
You
you for having
too. Be safe.
me. All right, babe. Bye.
Okay, peace. Have a
All
good
right.
one. Be safe.
Bye-bye. Okay.